Dude, that was the sweetest thing I've seen. It's a pretty good one too. I mean, he come blasting off the bottom. That was, I mean, and he come up and missed it like 3 or 4 times. And he just kept easing over to it. Oh no, oh no, oh. He got her by the head too. Oh. That'll work on the old Smith wick. Look down his throat. Got him a big old perch or something. Pretty good old fish there. I caught a decent one on a jerkbait, and I run across this wad of them. I threw it, jerkbait through it, and they kind of come up to it. They wouldn't commit. I mean, I'm watching all of it happen. I threw an A-rig through them. They wouldn't even think about it. So I'm dropping down to a rattle bait and won't commit to it either. So it's just a process that those fish are there. It's just figuring out what it is going to trigger to bite on, to get on the bite. And we got slick, calm conditions, so might have to go something kind of finessey. I don't want to, because these are good ones. I mean, you just got to rotate through baits, keep rotating, and you'll eventually find something that they want to eat. And it's liable to take a little bit, but capitalize on your opportunity when you do get it. I'm gonna try the smaller rogue, as you can tell the difference here. That big one and the small one there. And see if these conditions aren't subductive for a little bit smaller, since we don't have any wind or anything like that. So we'll try it out and see if that'll make them fish want to go ahead and commit to that bait instead of just kind of following it around. See how that bait, how it just sits pretty horizontal in the water and kind of suspends instead of floating like that other rogue did. I think when I was jerking that rogue down to those fish and I would stop it and it would start rising too quick for them, they didn't really want that. They want that bait to sit right in front of their face until they just can't handle it anymore. Then they go ahead and inhale it. And this rogue here, I got it set up like I want to, and it's suspending, and that's what I'm looking for this time of year. When you get in these colder months, I like that bait to suspend, and I really want it to stay horizontal. Whenever you're twitching that rogue, you're liable to have anywhere from a 3-second pause up to a 10 or 15-second pause if you can handle it sitting there that long. But the longer that bait sits there, the more those fish are going to really commit to it. And it also depends on your clarity of water. If you have a little bit of stain to the water, kind of like we have today, that bait, you can let it sit a little bit longer because they're not getting as good of a look at it. Now, if the water's a little bit clear, you got a good visibility, that 3 to 5 foot or even more, you maybe have to work that bait a little bit quicker so those fish don't get it near as good a look at it. Because sometimes the longer they can look at it, they might shy away from it in your real clear water. If you got a little bit of stain, you can let that bait sit there a little bit longer and those fish will go ahead and commit to it. I'm gonna drop down, we'll try a drop shot here. Those fish are coming up at the rogue, and I think just no wind is killing us. I really think I'm gonna have to drop to some finesse style. I was throwing a regular Yum finesse worm. I'm gonna drop down to about an 1/8 ounce weight my drop shot, because we're relatively shallow, less than 10 foot of water. But I have noticed one thing that I really didn't pay attention to as much before, is my line diameter for a difference of weights you're going to be able to throw. I used to be a big 20-pound guy. I mean, that's all I threw, and finesse fishing just doesn't work like that. You got to drop your line size, and the smaller line size you go to, the lighter weights you can get away with. This is actually around a 10-pound test sunline, and I have a 12-pound test braid on it that I've tied my fluoro to. Dropping down to that, I'm able to drop to this lighter weight and still get a relatively quick fall. And it seems like you get a little better natural approach to those fish, and your worms are gonna have a little bit more action, and hopefully it'll entice those fish to bite a little bit better for you. It worked. Sometimes you just gotta go a little finessey on them, innit? I didn't even feel him bite it. I watched him swim over to this little grass clump, which is where my worm was sitting, and then it just got heavy. That little old worm will still catch them good ones too. Don't always back down on it. That never worked. We had a little bit of wind this morning, and I caught a pretty good one on jerkbait, and they kind of, all of a sudden the wind stopped. And I could still see those fish, and I was throwing a jerkbait that floated a little bit. I dropped down to even drop size and went to a smaller rogue and suspended it, and it sat there, and those fish would come up, and I'd watch them on its scope, and they'd come up and look at the bait, look at it, he'd twitch it, and they just wouldn't eat it. I knew they're there, kept watching them, threw an A-rig through them, and they just wouldn't commit. They would just kind of look at it and shy away. And since it's slick, calm, bluebird skies, and I'm sitting there watching those fish, and I said, heck, I'm gonna drop down, throw me a drop shot. And instant, dropped on my first fish and catch a 4-pounder. Just a little old clump of grass, and I seen her swim over to it and pitch that drop shot in there, and she nailed it. You know, just a little old 6-7 inch young finesse worm, 1/8 ounce weight, and that lighter line, I could let it get down there to that fish and just hold it and just shake it. And you know, maybe get a little bit of wind here after a while, and those fish we can get back on that jerkbait, get that reaction bite. But as long as it's just bluebird skies with no wind, I think that finesse is going to work better. May even try like a Nico rig, something like that, that'll real subtle and get down in front of their face and make them bite. But we're going to keep trying this drop shot right now. I forgot to tighten my drag a minute ago whenever please don't come off. Oh. Oh, they're everywhere out here too. Oh, when you finally get them figured out and what they want. It's pretty fun catching them on that light line too. Oh, when you get them in, and she's got it too. Oh, look at that. Oh man, light line, little worm. You know, I would love to catch them on a jig or a jerk bait or something, but sometimes you gotta fish your conditions and you can't get rewarded. Even if you don't like to do something, try something different. Try that drop shot, try that wacky worm. I mean, that's a good fish, healthy, nothing wrong with her, perfect. Let her go back in the drink.